So, thank you, Preeti. Uh, Thank you, Rohit. And that's a very, very beautiful thing. I usually the felicitation token is something usually very, very okay, but that's beautiful. That's something I really want to take home. And it's so symbolic of the fact of where we are. Um, so my name is Tapas Sen, and I woke up at 3:30 in the morning today to be with you all. My wife asked me, Kothay jaccho? That's in Bengali, where are you going? And I told them I'm going to meet a bunch of students. So she didn't believe me. So she said, no, tell me honestly, where are you going? You can't be waking up at 3:30 to meet some students. So I said, no, actually I'm going to meet some students. So I said, what do you think? Where do you think I'm going? So she said, I think you're having an interstate affair. So, I keep telling this to people that, in media, people get abused, never seduced. So if you're getting into media, you should really, really know that. Anyway, I think the topic out of syllabus is a very interesting title. It reminded me of that famous book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School. So I was wondering, what is it that I can really bring, which probably the college has not focused on, or has not, or I could add to that. So so quite a few things came to mind, and I had to really struggle to decide as to what can I talk to this Insta generation. And so before that, I just wanted to ask a few questions, just so that I can get a hang of what my audience is all about. So how many of you are GOT fans here? Okay, that's good. Okay. How many of you have seen Inception? Excellent. Okay. How many of you think that Shah Rukh Khan is still cooler than Salman? Wow. Okay, so let me the corollary of this is those who have not put up their hands, they think that Salman is still cooler than Shah Rukh. Is that right? Who are the Salman fans here? I salute your courage. After Antim. So, no, good. Seriously, I have some friends who are such die-hard fans of Salman. He only has die-hard fans, So I have had the good fortune of talking to a lot of students across this country. Recently at Srinagar, and also abroad. I should not say Srinagar and abroad in the same breath, but that's fine. So the one message that I've got from the two messages I've got from students, okay, at various times over the years, it's something I have gleaned. So there are two kinds of speakers that students hate. So one is people who give long lectures, okay, and speakers, and the other is speakers who stand between them and their lunch. Of course, since we are starting the session, so I don't have that fear. Usually I always land up just before lunch, and it becomes a little difficult to hold people because their bodies are taking over their minds. So the other thing that I realized, and it happened in one of the universities, where they were doing a 5-day function of something similar, and then called lots of people over 5 days. By the third day, there was one message going out from all students, which was, and if I could put up a poster, it would be nice. It said, "Don't give us gyan, give us jobs." I thought that was the mantra that one should really, really carry. Carry forward. So, so that's essentially the thing that I thought that I would speak on. Parul asked me what I'm going to speak on, and Preeti and I were just discussing that. But before that, so we all know that modern life as we know it has been changed by two things. Electricity and internet, right? They say. What are the two things that changed internet to begin with? Any idea? Okay, this would be of interest to you. It was porn and gaming, right? But both those topics are out of syllabus. And they don't offer too much career options either. So we will not talk about that. What we will talk about is that particularly the third year, second year, and soon enough first year, it's a matter of time before you walk out of the gates of this university, cross the road, and enter a tall building for job interviews. Of course, you'll have your placement interviews here itself. But wherever you go for the next job, you will come across a guy like me. Okay? Would be definitely younger and a whole lot of other things. But this entire session, I just thought, I used to take about 100 interviews a year, not placement, in my office. Okay? And I've been doing it for many years now. So there's one thing I know for sure is the mind of the interviewer. Nothing in an interview is honest. Okay? It is a very hypocritical institution. The interviewer has her agenda, the candidate has her agenda, right? But what I'd like to do is just kind of give you a glimpse into, when I ask A, I probably mean B, so that if you know what is B, then it just helps you relate to that better. So what I'll do is, I will try and give you about, depending on the time that Preeti allows me, give you about 6 hacks. You all understand hacks, right? You do? Ah, great. I'll try and give you 6 hacks to hack the mind of the interviewer. Okay? I'll tell you the typical questions that often I ask in an interview and what I really expect. And trust me, the questions will be completely different, but जिसको कहते हैं ना ज़हनियत, तो इंटरव्यू की जो ज़हनियत है वो मुख्तलिफ ज़रूर हो सकती है, लेकिन है वही बुनियादी तौर पर. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse of that. So let's start with the first one. Okay, one of the first questions I typically ask, you will never be asked this, is what is the color of your socks? Okay, this is usually my first question. So to all the gentlemen here, is there any gentleman in the audience who's not wearing a black or blue or brown or gray socks? Yeah. I'm very proud of you. Please put your hands up. Don't be shy. What color is it? Okay. Sorry? White. Okay. Sorry? Dark green. Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. Why do I ask that? Okay. Just understand this. You are going to get into the media industry and the entertainment industry. Now both of them have become the same. Now, the thing is that in an entertainment industry, the interviewer is always looking for people who is somewhat khurafati by nature. You understand that? We are looking for people who are challenging even the minutest thing. The color of your socks may not matter, but the fact that somebody has decided, yeah, I will not wear black, blue, gray, or black, blue, gray, gray, brown, is a decision. I took this decision many years ago, but I remember it was a point of decision. It appears to be a very frivolous question. It is a frivolous question. There's no doubt about it. It is a gimmicky question. I will not mince my words. But what it does is that it's a great conversation starter, right? And what it also does is it tells me that you have decided to go into some minute part of your life and say, yeah, I will not adhere to the normal norm. I will have it different. So my life, of course, became quite interesting after I changed the colors of my socks. Uh, so one of the things that happened, apart from all the other things, was that I used to travel a lot. I still travel a lot, but at one point of time, or not one, even now. So I used to travel a lot in Vistara, and particularly in the front of the aircraft. And at some point of time, some air hostess noticed it. Okay, and I remember she said, "Mr. Sen, you wear the loveliest socks." Okay, and I really couldn't believe it because it was an extra dividend than what I had thought. Okay, she was not on my mind when I had taken this decision. And trust me, after that, she must have spoken to some other people. I got complimented by Air Vistara air hostesses at least on 4 different sectors. To the extent that, and this has not happened to me at all ever in any airline, that once I was on a Vistara aircraft on my birthday, and they actually made me cut a cake in the aircraft, and all the air hostesses got together and sang happy birthday. Okay, to the chagrin of a whole lot of other people because they were wondering ye kya ho raha hai. Those are the side benefits of wearing that. But us din se I have told myself that Vistara uniform is brown shoes and pink socks. Guys, black is not equal to masculinity. Pink is not equal to femininity. Okay, if you can get this, and particularly guys, if you can get this, you are cool. So my uniform, sorry, okay, because I flew Vistara this morning as well. Okay, so anyway, so the point that I'm trying to make is the larger point is what color of your socks. So one of the things that the interviewer is looking for is what are the things in your life, okay, that you have challenged and you have decided ki I'll move away from the normal. It could be socks, it could be anything else. Be prepared with that, because at some point of time, whether she asks you or not, you need to introduce that, because entertainment industry interviewers love that. Okay, okay. The next one. In the entertainment stroke media industry, when I ask you a question, okay, any question, actually, I am not interested in your answer. So what am I interested in? I am not interested in the information that you have about this question. So let me ask you this, that why do you think, so why did Russia invade Ukraine? Okay, now I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of information. I am not looking for that information because, as they say, information is available on tap. Everybody has that same information that you do. What I'm looking for is your opinion. I can't overstress this, but if you're in media, the ability to form opinion is your biggest craft, is your biggest talent. You have to be able to form, so because you need to form an opinion, of course you have to be well informed. So if I ask you, what is your opinion on the increase in petroleum prices? And all of you, and most of you will say that, or most of us said, even in radio, said that, bahut bura hua, that is my opinion. That is not an opinion. That is not an opinion. An opinion is where you say that, hey, listen, abhi to khair, of course, it has crossed 100. I remember we did this debate on Mirchi, and we said, 75 rupees per litre for petrol is not good enough. It should go up to 100. It should go up to 150. Why? Because the amount of subsidy that this country actually has to absorb, this is the non-subsidization phase, is terrible. And therefore, there was a particular thought that was propounded, and it actually went up to, we took it up to the ministry. And I'll tell you this idea. We said that petrol should have differential pricing. Why should the guy in a Mercedes be subsidized with my tax money? So we said, if you put petrol in a scooter, it should be 20 rupees per litre. If you put petrol in a Mercedes, it should be 200 rupees per litre. Fair enough? Original thought. And trust me, I think if we were in a slightly different set up, I think this would have made it to the parliament, because it was at that time, though I say it, it was quite a revolutionary idea. Differential pricing for petrol depending on who is the consumer. And the best way to know the consumer is by the vehicle that he or she uses. So please understand, whenever you are asked a question in an interview in media, please veer towards opinion. Don't give information. Whenever you read, try and form your opinion, not information. Pakistan has a new prime minister. How does that, does it augur well for India? Yes, no, what? I want to hear your opinion. Information to mere paas hai. Do you follow? So whatever you read, whatever you study, okay, opinion, art of making opinion is one of the greatest strengths. If you're in pure media, if you're in journalism, that of course you can't do without. Even if you're in creative writing, trust me, the ability to form opinions is something which will really, really make you go very, very far. Okay. Okay. The third one. Very often, I have seen this. When an interview begins, there is a vertical distance between the interviewer and the interviewee. Okay? Clearly, they are not at the same level field. One is, if I may use a crude word, superior to the other. Your job through the entire interview is to level with the interviewer. How will you do that? One simple tool to do that. Ask questions. Don't enter the room thinking that ये सवाल जवाब का जो सिलसिला है वो सिर्फ इंटरव्यूअर पूछेगा और मैं जवाब दूंगा या दूंगी. Please ask questions to the interviewer. That's how you level. Let me give an example. I may ask you, hey, listen, who's your favorite author? And you may say, oh, my favorite author is Dan Brown. I expect you to ask me, who is your favorite author? And I'll say, oh, Chetan Bhagat. And then I really need you to grab that opportunity and say, Chetan Bhagat, are you serious, sir? And then if you have read a bit, then you should really be lambasting the interviewer. He said, you really like Chetan Bhagat and you're interviewing me? Okay, nothing wrong with Chetan Bhagat. There are great fans of it. That's not the point. I'm just giving you an example. This is an example. Okay? The point that I'm trying to make is that this becomes a conversation. The moment you ask me, how come you like Chetan Bhagat? You've got me defensive. Now I am trying to explain to you why Chetan Bhagat is also good. He may not be as good as Dan Brown, but he's very good. Okay? Please ask questions. Turn the question answer session into a conversation. Because usually in entertainment and media companies, when you can level with the interviewer, people like that. I love it. It just speaks a lot about your confidence. It speaks a lot about the stuff that you know, the entire gamut, your entire range of things that you know about, and that you have the ability to challenge authority on day one. We love that. It may not sound like that, but we do. Because if in media and entertainment you don't have room for dissonance and argument, it will not grow. So questions, essentially, okay? So this is just one of the things. Please turn it into conversation. It's very simple. The person is asking you a lot of things. Just ask the person back. So where do you live? Oh, I am from Calcutta. What about you? Where are you from? I'm from Kanpur. Oh, so it's just a conversation. That's all. That is all it takes. And you should be ready with something so that you can steer the conversation towards something. Don't go in unprepared on that. Okay? Okay. The next one. This is an interesting one. At some point of time, I'll ask you, so what are your expectations? And essentially, it's more to do with salary. Okay? And people just jump at that. It's the biggest mistake you can make. Your salary has been decided even before you came into the room. All of you are going to be at an entry level, so there is no room for negotiation. Okay? The only mistake you can make is by asking for something which is less than what I'm planning to give you. That's the only mistake you can make. So don't talk about salaries. what you should talk about is something which is more important than salaries. At least that's the impression that the interview should get. You should ask her, please, my expectation is a good organizational culture. Please tell me that your organization has the kind of culture, the progressive culture, where I can flourish. Do you think I will fit into this culture? Do you think that this culture is good enough for a person like me? Now, what am I doing? I am turning the question around. I have definitely got the interviewer far more defensive. So he said, no, because now suddenly he is not the one who is selecting me. Suddenly I am selecting him or her. I am saying, is your organizational culture good enough for me? I have done 3 years of media studies in a premium media school and in a premium entertainment institution, college, etc. Okay, are you good enough for me? If you walk out of that room without asking the question, are you good enough for me? You have made a big mistake. You cannot walk out of it. Your interview is incomplete. You have to, at some point of time, you have to ask the company, are you good enough? That's fine. You ask me all the questions to see if I'm good enough for your company. Is your company good enough for me? Nobody asks that, but some people do. And those people who have asked us that, those people who have put organizational culture above salary and other things, we immediately know that this is a long runner. This is the person we would like to put in the management cadre. This is a person we flag off. The person may be at the entry level, it doesn't matter. But I will put my remarks there for HR to keep in focus for the next few years. Okay? Please remember, it's a conversation of equals. Interview is not about one inferior or one superior and the one other not. It is a conversation of equals. You need to establish that. Okay? Okay. At some point of time in the interview, there is going to be some questions about your personal life. Okay, so tell me, what does your father do, etc., etc., etc. Please introduce your boyfriend or girlfriend into the conversation the moment you get that opportunity, and I'll tell you why. Okay, because if you can introduce the fact that you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, and here I will not say it officially, but the truth doesn't matter. But why it is important is that the moment you introduced boyfriend stroke girlfriend, the one message that you're sending, there are 2 or 3 messages you're sending the person. One, I have a life. Okay? And that's a great message, particularly in the entertainment and media industry. Okay? The other message that you're sending is that, he or she must be a fun person. If this person has managed to convince another person of another gender or same gender, doesn't matter, that that for companionship, this must be a fun person. So a lot of things is achieved in that one little thing that you may not be able to actually establish through a lot of other saying a lot of things. You can't tell somebody, hey, I'm a fun guy, right? But you can introduce the concept of boyfriend, girlfriend, and it works wonders. Wonders. You'll be surprised, such a small thing. Okay? Of course, you're also getting the interviewer a little jealous. That's good. You're also getting him or her very curious. Even better. I remember one of our candidates in Calcutta turned up with his girlfriend in the interview. And this interview was with the managing director of the company. Okay? I was there and my boss's boss was there, And he had the temerity, and we love him for that. He's still there after some 20 some years. Okay, he said that after it was an interesting conversation, though it became pretty long. He said, "Excuse me, but can you just tell me how long will this last? Because my girlfriend is waiting outside, and we have tickets for a movie, and she's already pretty pissed." I think he had the job at that point of time. He had the job. Okay, so we asked him. We said, why did you get your girlfriend? to the interview. And he used a beautiful term, I'll never forget it. He said, she is my emotional ambulance. So in case I really, really get kicked out in this interview, I'll need to cry or whatever. So here I'm using the word girlfriend in a transferable manner. It could be girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. But I love the term emotional ambulance. Often a lot of us come out pretty bruised out of interviews. Okay, so guys, use this. It's again a bit gimmicky. It doesn't matter. Use it. You will find the tenor of the conversation of the interview slowly changing. And some point of time, the interviewer in his eyes, you'll see respect. So that helps. Come to the last one, I think, and maybe one more. Never say, and I've seen a lot of people do this, okay? I'll ask you about, so what do you think is going to happen in the upcoming elections in Uttar Pradesh, or now in Gujarat or wherever? And the typical answer I get, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in politics, okay? Please do not utter this phrase, I am not interested in politics. I'll tell you as an interviewer what it translates to in my mind. It translates to in my mind as I am stupid enough not to keep myself informed of all things happening in my country and to my citizens and all things around me. That is what it translates to when you say I am not interested in politics. Because think of it. Is there anything in your life which is not touched by politics? The petrol price that you pay is a political decision. The income tax filing that you do is a political decision. Anything where you travel, what passports, anything and everything. What is the media policy? Whether you will have OTTs in this country or not. Whether you will actually have the next iPhone in this country or not is a political decision, right? There was a point of time when there were no foreign goods allowed in this country, right? Very, very minimally. It was a political decision that changed that. So please don't even think for a moment that your life is untouched by politics. Please think harder. You're media students. You're the M&E industry. Okay, you're a creative fraternity. Do not make the mistake of isolating yourself, turning yourself into an island and saying, no, politics to, siyasi baaton se hame kya dilchaspi. Please don't do that. Okay? हर रोज अखबार की सुर्खियां पढ़िए, पर्टिकुलर जो सियासी सुर्खियां हैं उनको तो आप ज़रूर पढ़िए और उनको समझिए. और सबसे बड़ी बात, और इस बात को आप जहन नशीन कर लीजिए कि आपको उनके बारे में ओपिनियंस फॉर्म करने हैं. इट इज़ नॉट इवन गुड इनफ दैट यू नो, हैव एन ओपिनियन. प्रीवियस पॉइंट. ओके, डू वी हैव द टाइम फॉर 2 more points? Okay, great. Last 2 points. At every point of time, in any interview, there are always certain buzzwords in the environment at that point of time. Okay, like आज के डेट के कुछ buzzwords में आपको बता, I can tell you 2 or 3 buzzwords. So you have to find ways to introduce them into your conversation. The interviewer, at least I always give them certain room to do that, to see if there is more to you than just what I'm asking. Okay, so one of the buzzwords these days is American politics. It's be very, very fancy if you can tell the interviewer, hey, I'm a Democrat, not a Republican. Okay, it's great topic to put on the table. And the chances are that your interviewer is very interested in American politics. Okay? But before you do that, don't make a fool of yourself. All this is not gimmicky. I'm asking you to prepare. You need to know the difference between Republican and Democrats to be able to pull this off. And if you can't pull this off, don't try it. In any case, you're in the wrong room if you don't know that. Okay? Another one is EPL. Okay, the English Premier League. Are you a Man U supporter or Chelsea or Arsenal or Liverpool? Come on, guys, don't just say, hey, I am a Man U supporter. I'm going to ask you 5 questions after that. Very recently, I was in Lucknow, and by mistake, the station director there told me that, Tapas, since you're here, why don't you just interview one of the jocks? We have more or less cleared him, but since you're here, why don't you? So I said, sure. And there's this good-looking guy with shampooed hair comes in, and I asked him. I've been told that he's more or less through, and like I said, he's quite a dude. So he sits down and he says, so I generally start talking, and it's not an interview because I've been told that he's through and all that sort of a thing. So I ask him, so what do you do? So he made the big mistake, and don't make this mistake. He's made the big mistake of saying, oh, I love to read. Guys, if you don't read, don't make that claim. Because all people who read carry a book with them. So I asked him, I said, what are you carrying? He said, oh, nothing now. Then I asked him, so who's your favorite author? Oh, actually, not really anybody in particular. I said, okay, name 2 or 3 authors. After about 2-3 minutes, the conversation was uncomfortable because he started telling me that I read magazines. So I said, okay, who's your favorite columnist? He didn't have an answer. Okay. Then he said, actually, I'm interested in photography. I said, okay, very good. I said, I know very little about photography, but tell me, what kind of lenses do you use? He didn't have an answer. He said something, I use a zoom lens. Even I know that's a stupid answer. Okay. I know there's some photographers in the audience. Then he said, I love sports. Okay. So at the end of the day, guys, the point that I'm trying to make to you is that we are in a knowledge-based economy. Okay. Fooling is not the idea. It just may get you a job. If I had not landed in Lucknow that day, the shampooed guy would have got a job. But the problem is that he would not do well and he would not last. So, like in our entire controversial caste system, we have the Brahmins over the other, right? So knowledge is higher than money or economics, right? So as an entire civilization, we believe that knowledge is superior to anything and everything, right? Think about it. Okay. Okay, this is a point for another day. We'll not get into that. The bottom line that I'm trying to make is that all these points that I'm trying to tell you is just to get you into the mind of the interviewer, not for you to get gimmicky, not for you to get into the room without preparing, but just to tell you what all you need to prepare and how to play it smartly. That's the thing. Okay. Last point. In every interview, there are some very, very simple but very, very boring questions. These questions seem very, very harmless, but they are not harmless at all. So what are your hobbies? Where do you love to travel? What music do you love? Okay. I can guarantee it that the interviewer is not interested. Okay. And you will immediately proceed to tell me, whatever you want to tell me. Let me tell you what the interviewer is checking. These are very boring questions with very boring responses. But what I want to see is that you're in the entertainment industry, remember, can you make a boring situation entertaining? That is the trap. These questions are not harmless questions. The information contained in the question is useless. I am not interested to know what music. I just want to see, can you convert that? So I remember once one of the guys told me that, I said, what is your hobby? And I was not even listening. And he said, my hobby is to collect dead mosquitoes in a polythene pouch. I said, what? I really woke up, right? Like you did. If you have I have no idea whether the guy was telling the truth or not. He had a very straight face but I knew that he had turned it around. He had turned a very, very boring question around. Another guy who I had asked me, where do you love to travel? And he said that I love to travel Two answers I got, I remember, which is interesting. One said that I love to travel into all Juliet balconies. I said, what are Juliet balconies? He says, balconies of all pretty girls in my colony. I said, what are you saying? He said, yeah, sir, I've got caught many times and I've got beaten up also, but bahut maza aata hai. So he used the term Juliet balconies. He said, that's my travel schedule. Okay. And the other person, which is more serious and more interesting, I mean, not more interesting, but definitely very different, was that he said that this person said, I'm a sunset chaser. This person takes his, this is a lady. She took a camera and has traveled to more than some 21 states in this country, just chasing sunsets. That's it. She says, so sunset is my travel schedule. Where I go is not important. I just see the spot, this great. So what I'm saying is that these are just great examples where you can just turn around something which is, which is very boring into something which is very, very interesting. Okay. So that's pretty much it from my side, guys. The only thing that, and I'll just open up to questions quickly. The only thing that I wanted to say at the end, that if you're in the entertainment industry, the only currency is entertainment. Don't do anything which is normal. एक हमारे यहाँ एक बहुत बड़ा पोस्टर हमने लगाया हुआ है, and it's a mantra which says, यहाँ चोरी माफ हो सकती है, बोरियत नहीं. And that's a mantra. We can forgive anything. The only sin is to be boring. You cannot do anything the normal way. That is what this industry is headed for. So, and therefore to become that, you have to be what we call a storyteller. If you are in the entertainment industry or the media industry, okay, now I know a lot of people think Arnab Goswami is a storyteller, but that's besides the point. The point that I'm trying to tell you is that the art of storytelling is very, very intrinsic to media and entertainment. Whatever you say, even if I say, just go and get that, and you say, "Pata kya hua?" Even the stupid journey of going and getting a bottle of water from the next room to here can be fraught with adventure. And the adventure is all here, nowhere else. Okay. Thank you so much for giving me the time of your day.
We have time for about 2 quick questions. Anyone has any questions? Do remember point number 3 of what Tapas Das said, which is ask questions. So here's your chance. Anyone, any questions? Show of hands. Yep. This is mic there, yeah.
Take the mic, please.
Sir, you said that...
Not sir. My name is Tapas. Just call me Tapas, please.
I'm not comfortable with
That's
calling
okay.
out the name.
I'm the guest here, so my comfort is more important. Atithi Devo Bhava.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you said that the salary is decided before we go in for the interview. Somehow I don't agree with that with my personal experience. I gave in an interview like last week, and we were supposed to get a package of like 15 to 20,000 a month. And I was offered the twice of it, and I don't know, like, if I would not have took up the topic of the salary, I guess even they would have hired me for that amount. So, like, what's the point of not talking about the salary?
No, you will definitely talk about the salary, but not to the senior manager. HR will give you enough chance to talk about the salary. Don't worry about that. The point that I'm trying to tell you is that your main interview is not going to be with HR. Your main interview is going to be with a vertical head.
Okay.
Okay? Don't waste her time, because your salary is going to be decided by HR. And number 2, I think even before you walked into that room, HR had decided that they're going to pay you 30,000. They were trying to see if they can get you for 15. So,
Okay.
but trust me, it is very, very difficult that, कि हाँ, उनका जो sanction level है वो 15 का है, but suddenly we'll go to 30. Probably it was even a little more. They're just trying to see where they get it. But no, don't, please talk as much as you want about your salary, but to HR.
Okay.
Not to the vertical head.
Anyone
Anybody?
else has any other questions?
Yeah,
Yes.
please. Tapas, I had a question. Yeah.
Yes. So, like you mentioned, one topic which was never utter the word that I'm not interested in politics or
Right.
any other topic.
Right.
So, what I have seen from my personal experience as well is that despite having a plethora of information everywhere,
Right.
somehow and sadly, people
Right.
are neither aware nor informed.
Right.
So, cut to 30 years back
Right.
when there was no internet,
Correct.
no media like
Right.
the way
Right.
it is today.
Right.
Still, people had opinions, were
Right.
informed and
Right.
highly like intelligent and aware. So, what is it that has changed in these 3-4 decades?
I'll tell you. So, see, there were stupid people then, there were stupid people now, there were clever people then, there were clever people now. What has changed is the surfeit of information. Because you have so much information that you don't feel the need to acquire an opinion. Because somebody or the other will feed that to you as well. So if you read the editorial pages, you will get a fair amount of opinions. That's the reason why, and also people have stopped realizing the importance of opinion. And media particularly has become more opinion focused. If you see all our news anchors, and you will have Anand tomorrow, I think, or today, I don't know when, and talk to him about that, Anchors have opinions now. At one point of time in the newsroom, opinion was a bad word. You were supposed to just give information. That paradigm has completely changed, completely. It is now about opinions. Arnav because of his opinions. Barkha because of his opinions. Rajdeep because of his opinions. Right? So, therefore, this game is a newer game. It has happened in the last 10, 15 years. And most of the young people, they are mistaking information for opinion. They think we know everything about the Ukraine-Russia war. But what is the opinion there? If I ask you, what do you think, why has Elon Musk bid for Twitter? Now everybody has an information, okay? But why? What is your opinion? Right? And then you'll have to delve into it to see what is the possibility. He's already a stakeholder. What is he trying to do? Okay, and this is a very, very interesting topic. Let me also just tell you, in Harvard, the way they teach is called the case study method, right? You'd be aware. So there is no, it's not about books at all. They just take one case, okay? And they just talk about the case and read up on it. And the entire session or that entire week is only about you giving your opinions. And when you do that, you cannot give opinions without information. So information is a subset of opinion. If you have information, not necessarily you'll have opinion. If you have opinion, you definitely have information.
Early 90s, when we used to see, there was only Doordarshan News.
Yeah.
Like you said, all the news anchors were just giving you the news
Correct.
articles
Correct.
or the news of the day.
Correct.
Without any expression, without any opinion. But in the past 15, 20 years...
Without any expression is very correct, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the past 15, 20 years, the private media industry has taken over.
Correct.
And the way they present the news
Absolutely.
has completely changed the minds of people.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, what has happened is people take that news as the only information they have, and based on that they form opinions,
Right.
without even delving into the crux of the news.
Right.
Why they are saying this, like the way you mentioned
Right.
Elon Musk.
Right.
People might not know that he is the majority stakeholder in
Right.
Twitter.
Right.
And also the Ukraine-Russia war.
Right.
See, war is not good. Everyone knows that. But
Right.
why is it happening
Yeah.
is no one...
True.
I mean, no one is interested
Correct.
in that.
Correct. Absolutely. So,
I'm just trying to...
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. It has completely changed. The entire news paradigm has completely changed. It is important that they do. Otherwise, what is the value add? मतलब उनकी वैल्यू ऐड क्या है? तो मैंने उनको बोल रखा है कि मुंह तभी खोलो जब कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग हो कुछ बोलने का. Otherwise, 40 seconds of your silence is better than 40 seconds of your opening your mouth. So but they must give something which value adds to your life. Otherwise, क्या फायदा? जी.
Hello, Tapas.
Hi.
I'm Aditya. Yes.
One
Hi,
last
Aditya.
question. Yeah, one last question. Sorry, we should start the next session.
Yes, sir. Yes, Tapas.
Yeah.
About opinions,
Yeah.
right? You said in an interview, opinions are very important.
Gee.
Some people have this very clever ability to change opinions, like other opinions and facts into their own opinion.
Right.
For example, this war would lead to Russian isolation.
Right.
It's a fact.
Right.
But then again, I've cross-checked sources and it is my opinion as well.
Right.
But in an interview, if I state it, it'll look plain bland. So can you help me how to make it look like an opinion?
No. So when you say that Russia is going to get isolated, it is not a fact. It is your opinion. Now you have obviously acquired it from somewhere. That is okay. You may have read 5 articles. Otherwise, where will you acquire it from? आप 4 जगह पढ़ोगे और उन चारों को मिला के you will create something and say, okay, fine. I believe this is true and this part is true and this part is true. And that becomes your opinion. But when you say that Russia is going to be isolated, I am going to challenge you on that. And are you ready for it? I am going to tell you that most of Russian economy is going out of Europe. Germany being the biggest oil buyer from them. And the amount of trade that happens between Russia and Europe is huge. So where is the question of Russia being isolated? Why should Russia get isolated? So क्या होगा आप में और मेरे बीच में we'll do a debate, right? The message is not important. The fact that you can get into that discussion is what the interviewer loves. At the end of it, whether you're right or wrong is not important. What exactly is your opinion is not important. But the fact that you've been able to form one is critical.
Thank you, Tapas.